Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Sky Tour Livestream. This is the 6th of May, 2022, and as always, I have our astronomer's astronomer, the complement to Sky Tour Livestream. I have Darrell Mason with us. Hi, Darrell. How are you?
Hello, Mark. I'm good. You? Hi, everybody.
Doing just fine. I just want to let everybody know that tonight's stream is courtesy of our sponsor, which is FX Models. FX Models is naturally the company that provides space models. In fact, yes, it's shameless plug. That's my company. We have 3D crater models, but we now have a 3D moon, 4 inches in diameter, full moon. That you can get as well, hand painted, so it's really a piece of art. So we'll talk about that. And I have a conference coming up in New York at Pine Bush, New York. PG, who is in the chat here, Petita, will be there, and other people in the chat may be there. So I just want to let you know that maybe if I can get these done in time, I'll have some of these there. But I might also have some 3D craters. I did the crater Clavius on our new prototyper the other day, and it is just stunning. Clavius, if you recall, was the crater in 2001: A Space Odyssey that had TMA Anomaly 1, which is the Tycho anomaly that was the black monolith in the crater that they had discovered.
Tycho Magnetic Anomaly 1 was in Tycho Crater. The moon base was in Clavius Crater.
Did I say that wrong? That's what I thought I said. I'm sorry, but I think you're right. I said Tycho.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but okay. I wasn't clear enough. My mistaken approach. But anyway, good to see you guys. I see we have a number of people here. I want to say hello to PG and Uberku. I also want to say hello to Renee Cruz, and a big welcome to Lil Griffin, who has joined us, I believe, for the first time. Good to see you. Make sure you subscribe, because there's a lot of some really cool content coming up. And then we have Darrell, as you can see. He's the guy talking in the background here with me. And we have Izabela from Bulgaria, Sofia, Bulgaria. She's a wonderful addition to Sky Tour Livestream, does all kinds of stuff for us behind the scenes, including generating that amazing table of contents for each and every stream. That's a labor of love. Donald Kunzer's here. Yeah, she rocks. She rocks. Donald Kunzer is here. Hey, Donald, what's happening? So that's the early crowd. We have an Anahata 77, Bonnie from Colorado, kind of out your way, Darrell. A little more west of you, I think.
Pagosa Springs, southwest of me, a few hours.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, we're doing great here. Yeah, Mark. How about a model of Tycho with the excavation and the monolith? Actually, I do have a model of Tycho. I actually have a Tycho crater model, but the excavation and the monolith, much different scale. That would mean we'd have to really make a gigantic model. Izabela, we're not too kind. We're not kind enough. Okay. She says we're too kind. Anyway.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Darrell says he's too kind.
Well,
that's okay.
My mom thought I was cute.
Well, that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
So how you doing out there anyway? How's everything going in Colorado?
Today was the first day that got to 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
I turned the fan on in the front of the house, and it's supposed to be 85 tomorrow, and I may turn on the AC tomorrow. Who knows? We'll see how bad it gets.
Wow.
Humidity is really low still. We did finally get a decent soaking rainstorm a couple 3 days ago. In the month of April, we received a grand total of 1/100th of an inch of precipitation.
Wow.
It's just absolutely bone dry out here. And everybody's freaking out about fire season again. They think it's going to be, burning all summer. If we're lucky it won't. But,
I'm sure it'll be fine. You know,
See.
I hope so. I hope so. Well, tonight we're actually, as you can tell, I haven't done all the setup that I normally do, but I'm gonna do it now and set up our system here on the right up there. You can see this is the camera cluster. This tells us everything about the camera, and currently I set it to 1,000 milliseconds. That's the exposure. That's the time of the exposure, right? And then this is the gain down here. The gain is like the sensitivity, and we usually run the gain around 300. And until it gets really dark, I'm gonna let it stay like it is. Also, we're not in focus. That's intentional. We actually bring it into focus as we go. We have to allow the telescope to acclimate and get cooled down, or I should say equalized with the outside air temperature, because the temperature out there is in the 80s in the building already. So it's actually pretty cool out there. Nice. I mean, not cool as in low temperature.
Izabela says I'm a little low on audio. So does Uberku.
Okay. Well.
I did turn it up a little bit.
Okay. I have you up. I have you up as high as it can go. So, at your end, I think you're going to have to probably talk louder or more directly into the mic a little bit.
Okay.
Oh.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that's okay.
Sound settings are screwy, folks. Mark was having those teething pains before we got started. I never change anything on my end. He always says it's my fault. So there.
All right. Yeah.
But anyway, many brave souls are asleep in the deep and all that.
Okay. Not sure what that means, but okay.
It's an old song.
All right.
It was on Smacky and our gang, Little Rascals.
Oh, I remember that.
A guy named Thurl Ravencroft famously sang the song. Thurl Ravencroft has a really deep voice.
Wow. That's cool.
Many brave souls are asleep in the deep. I can't hit the low notes anymore.
You used to be able to?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. All right. That's pretty cool. Well, look, I know that screen clock is not working. Oh, I see why, too. It's going to work in about 3, 2, 1. Boom. There we go. Screen clock is now functional. Thank you for that. I just had to make sure that I started that other process running, which I had not. I think we're finally ready.
Yeah, well, it's not dark yet.
No, it's not. As you can see right up above here, for those just joining us, I'll make it pretty clear that that is not what I wanted to do. Okay, this is our telescope control cluster right here. All right, you can see it. This runs the telescope north, south, east, west, and we can put in coordinates if we wanted to and get to the telescope computer. This is the view into our observatory building. You can actually see the telescope. There's the sky. It's getting dark. You see a little light haze there. This is the camera control over here. We've got the exposure, as I mentioned, the gain. This is effects for actually doing processing. Some processing on the imagery, and the image has got a sensor in it that actually picks up red, green, and blue. Right, and combines them into a color image, right? And so that's what these red, green, and blue curves are about. And the yellow one is the one that is going through the curve. That tells you how much of that data is actually getting picked off for this. All right, and we have the same thing when we start doing live stacking, which you will see when I get there. Let's pull that off there. We already know the sponsor. Okay, so what we're going to do now...
I don't see your pointer either.
Have
you been pointing at controls and stuff on the screen?
Yes.
I never saw your cursor.
You didn't?
I see it now. There it is.
Okay. Well,
All right.
what you didn't see was I was moving around the screen. I had my whole image moving around. So, like, right now, okay, here I am. I'm moving around the screen, but you can't see it. Okay, you're just hearing me talk, but you can't see it, but I am doing it.
Yeah.
And that's because I was being tricky.
Oh,
I was being a little tricky on you. Sorry about that.
okay.
All right, and now I'm going to move this up a little more where it belongs. Okay, and this is good. All right, so now you can see my pointer, and everybody can.
Yep.
Okay, we're waiting for it to get darker, and while we're waiting, I'm going to try something. Let's see if we're at a setting of 239. Here you can see stars. They're not in focus, but that's intentional. And what we're going to do now is we're going to connect the focuser down here on the right. Okay, it's where my cursor is. I'm going to connect the focuser right here. All right, and this will connect the ability for us to focus the telescope remotely. And that should come on now. There we are. No, that's the wrong one. I don't want that one. I want this one that's connected already. There we go, right there. Okay. And now I'm going to move it out. I'm going to move the focus out. You'll see the stars change a little bit. All right. They're actually getting sharper because I'm going into focus. Now I'm going to pull it out of focus now. And then we're going to go back and do an autofocus system here.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
You were talking about FX models. You should do some videos for FX models and put them online. Push your wares. Show the neat stuff you can do. Show some of your more involved work you've done, like for the military, whoever the case may be, if you can show it publicly.
Yeah, some of it I can, some of it I can't. But you're right. And my son, who redesigned our website, fxmodels.com, actually says that's something very important that I need to do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And you're right.
Yeah. I have one of the Tycho craters. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is. Isn't it cool?
Sitting right here, in fact.
Wow. Well, you earned that. You definitely earned that crater. I gave that to you, I believe, back when.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you didn't want it, but I sent it anyway.
I don't remember what I did to earn it.
You're doing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so what I'm doing now, by the way, is I'm doing an autofocus system process. So you're watching this curve get built over here, and that curve is actually a focus curve. And it's changing the focuser and testing the positions in the yellow dots, and then it's going to go into focus and then out of focus. You're going to see the curve is going to do this. Okay, it's already doing that. So here's the bottom of the curve about, and we're going to see a second dotted line show up here momentarily, and that'll be the prime focus. There it is, the primary focus position, the best position, and the best position is the one that we're going to be using. But the telescope is currently out here, and then once we see a green bar up there like we do now, it says we're done, and now we're going to tell the telescope to go to that best position, and now you'll watch it travel all the way through the whole range. It's going to come across and then go back to the central position, at which point these stars are going to be absolutely beautifully focused. Okay, so now we're fully focused, so I can actually get rid of this. It's done its job, and now if we just take a look at this, we can see that these stars now are little pinpoints everywhere, and that's just what we want. Okay, really, really good. Now we do have a small moon out there tonight, and it's a waxing crescent. All right, and this is our planetarium that's also hooked to the telescope. That crosshair tells us where the telescope is, and it's pretty accurate. And now if we go to the west, you can see the moon up northeast of Procyon there. And,
Yeah.
But the moon is actually just a small little crescent. We should look at it.
The moon is right next. That's Castor and Pollux there in Gemini, just to the right of the moon.
It is. Well,
And I think the brighter one is Pollux, if I remember right.
okay. Well, we can try going there and see what we can see, because I think that we're... Let me see if we can actually... what our elevation is. I want to make sure our elevation is within our limits. And it is. So we're going to try it. We'll see if we can get to the moon. All right, now you watch the telescope move over my head right here. You're going to see it move just in a sec. There it goes. And it's going to head that way because that's where the moon is. But what it's doing is high precision slewing, meaning it's going to actually find a bright star in the area first. Okay, and then go to the moon after that. So, and you'll see right here, it'll tell you what star it's going to. All right, and it looks like it's going to be this star right here. Now, I think it's Procyon. No, it's Pollux. See that? It's centering up Pollux, which is in Gemini. And then, of course, we go to the moon, and you say, well, where is it? I don't see it. Well, that's because we're doing some processing, and we need to drop it down. Look how bright it is. That part there, that's the unlit part of the moon that we're seeing right there. And where'd it go? That happens sometimes too. Alright, so let me bring that back, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, we're just a little bit off. There we are. And let's head to the west a little bit. And then we're going to head up to the north. Let's get here first.
Can you turn on constellation figures?
Yeah, I can. But when the moon's when you're this close to the moon, we're not going to see too much from it, and not until I get this. Let me.
Yeah. I just wanted people to see the stick figures of the two twins.
Yep. There they
That's
are.
Castor on the right and Pollux on the left.
Yep.
I'm Pollux, whatever that's worth. As far as twins go.
Oh, okay. All right. So now let's go westward a little bit. Do this. All right. Get under here. And then go this way. All right. So the moon should be coming in here pretty quick.
They're pretty tall, Donald. You're only seeing their upper halves right now.
Yeah.
If you see a bright star between Gemini and Orion, that's Alhena, which is the foot of one of the twins. It's the only bright star between the two. It's pretty unmistakable. It's called Alhena, A-L-A-T-N-A.
So as you can see, this is really overexposed, but you know what you're seeing is when it stabilizes, this is the unlit side of the moon. It's lit by the reflection of the light off of the Earth. It's called Earth shine. And so this is the lit part. So if we were to bring this down to what it should be, we would drop the gain here, which is the sensitivity of our sensor. We'll drop that down to nothing. All right. And so it's starting to look a little better. And then we actually have to take our 1 second exposure and drop that down to like 45 milliseconds. So just under half a second, and we can kind of start to see the moon now, and we can actually go even smaller than that. Let's do 30 milliseconds, and then this should be a little better. Right, and we can play with this now a little bit and drop it even more. Let's do that.
The human eye is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it is.
Its dynamic range lets us see the dark side and the lit side simultaneously.
That's right.
And the dark side of the moon is really pretty. When it's a crescent moon, as Mark said, it's reflected Earth light. And it's ghostly looking, but it makes for a very pretty view.
Yeah, and actually when you look at it, you can definitely tell that the moon is a sphere.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt the moon's a sphere. You know? So like we take this now, and if we actually let's actually move a little bit to the east here. Let me first of all, I can see one problem here. I'm gonna move this over a little bit.
There's 3 of my favorite craters right there in the middle too.
Right here.
I'm having a brain lock right now. Yes. One of them is Catharina, and I'm embarrassed to say I'd have to look the other 2 up right now. I forgot them. I want to say one of them is Theophilus.
Okay, you're probably right.
And the third one. Give me just a second, I'll find out.
I'm sure you will. Alright, and this here is going to... I'm going to move this over one more time. Okay. So there, we can see that's just a live view, actually. And what I want to do is just do one thing here. I'm going to change my speed of the motion here. The motion of the telescope, I'm going to change the speed down to just 16 times guiding speed, which allows me to move it around a little bit easier. But then if we actually go to the east a little bit, so push the moon over a little bit. All right, if we do that, okay, like right now, or push it over to the east a little bit. All right, so now you see the moon there, and let's do what we did before. Let's go up to, say, a 1 second exposure again. You ready? Okay, so with a 1 second exposure, that's going to be really overexposed, right? And you can start to see the dark side here. I should say the unlit side. But if we actually take this now and increase the amount of data that we can accept from the sensor, now you can start to see even more data, and we can start to see that the unlit side actually has some detail on it. There you see that famous crater right there, yet to be illuminated, called Aristarchus. Yeah, that's a beautiful crater.
Aristarchus is the brightest point on the face of the moon.
That's right. And that whole place, that location is called the Aristarchus Plateau. We have a 3D model of Aristarchus that we made, which is actually kind of cool. And you can actually see a lot of detail on it. You know, it really is quite detailed. But we're redoing all of our crater models using our newest acquisition, which is a new SLA printer that we have. SLA is stereolithography, and we can print something almost a foot across now, and about 9-10 inches tall, and about 5-6 inches wide. It's actually a pretty good size print surface. And we printed a whole moon. I have it in the other room, actually, in the shop. But I haven't painted the seas, the Mare on it yet. But it's going to look just like the real moon. We have a small one that we make, and now we're making a larger one. I love the moon. What can I say? You know, that's what we do. So, that said, so now you can see that. Now, if there is a flash of light that you see here on the moon, then you might catch a meteor striking the moon. Now, they still happen. And it was during the lunar eclipse, at the height of the lunar eclipse, and most of you know that, back in 2019, in January. I think it was January 20th, 2019.
I want to say
19th?
19th.
Yeah, okay. In 2019, we were actually doing this and streaming. The moon was this big on our screen when all of a sudden we saw, pow, right down here in the red area on the moon, we saw this bright flash. And that was a meteor striking the moon. And we were one of 5 groups on the entire planet to see it happen live. And now it's recorded forever in our streams. It's up there from that date.
Oh, come on. This shouldn't be that hard. Sorry, I'm still looking for those craters. And I hate moon maps. They're so obvious that just looking at a map's not like looking at the moon.
Yeah, they never look like what you expect them to look like.
Yeah.
Well, okay, first of all, you're looking at Cyrillus, Theophilus, and Catharina.
Yes, Cyrillus, that's the other one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where did you find it at?
I don't want to embarrass you and tell you how quickly I found it, okay?
Yeah. Cyrillus, Theophilus, and Catharina.
Yeah, and Theophilus is the one to the upper right. Well, you can't see it now, but you will in a second, because I'll bring it back in a second.
It looks like a dumbbell with an extra ball on one end.
Mm-hmm. Oops, I don't want to go 20 seconds. I want to do 20 milliseconds. Okay, there we go.
Cyrillus.
Yep. Okay, this here we go. This is Theophilus right here. This is Cyrillus, and this is Catharina.
Yep.
All right, and we're at 75%. We can go to 100% here, actually. And then I'll move over. I'll bring it over. We're going to go to the west a little. So here we go. Let's just pull that moon over this way a little. All right, there we go.
You know, something we should look for while it's a young moon is, I'm having a brain lock.
The X?
No, the two craters right by each other. Messier and Messier A.
Oh yeah, that's
where the asteroid skipped when it hit the moon.
Right down here.
I think so.
I think this is Mare Tranquillitatis, isn't it? Or is this? This is it. This is Mare Tranquillitatis. It's over here. Yeah. Let's see what we can do here. First of all, I need to add in just a little bit. I'll do a little processing that we can do here in here. Let me just do this. I'm going to go in here. You can't see what I'm doing. Sorry. And we're going to actually add some sharpening a little bit. Just a little bit. All right. And that might be to help us see things better. And again, you got to understand, we're a wide-angle telescope. So looking at the moon, just so you know, let's just show you this, and then we'll come back down to this. This is right here, right there. That's our full view, okay? And we're looking at an image that's 4 full moons across and 3 full moons tall. That's the size of our sensor, okay? And with our setup, we're running a telescope that normally runs at what's called a photographic value of f8, okay, which is not the fastest, not the slowest, but we're running it at f2, which is very fast. And as a 10-inch diameter instrument, we're catching a lot of light very quickly. And so that's having a low focal length telescope equates to having a very, very large field of view. And that's not the best for hunting for tiny details on the moon. So our telescope right now, this particular telescope, is best suited for nebulae, clusters, things like that, deep sky. So looking at the moon is definitely not our bailiwick. That's the realm of P&K space imaging with Keith and Paul. So if you haven't subscribed to them, please do. I'm sure most of you have. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back here and bring us up to 100% again. And I'm going to reduce our exposure down to 12 milliseconds. It's going to make it a little dimmer. I want to get rid of the hotspot over here. There we go. So that's interesting. And now I think Kepler is, and Messier rather, is over here, isn't it?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Messier.
There are some high clouds right now that we're kind of working through, but I believe where this is and the moon is, we don't have to worry too much about them. But this is neat. This is pretty. Not a bad bit, Buster.
I bet we'll be looking at the moon on May the 15th, won't we?
Oh, geez, I don't know. Maybe, considering it's going to be a lunar eclipse. So hopefully you guys will be around for that. And hopefully it'll be clear out in Arizona where we're streaming. We're broadcasting live from Arizona. I'm in Connecticut, and Darrell is in Colorado. And the telescope is out in Arizona. So we're running it remotely, which is really, I think, it's just the most amazing thing in the world. I really enjoy being able to run it remotely, to be honest with you. It's the coolest thing since sliced bread to watch the roof come off out there on a security camera and say, wow, I'm running a telescope from 2,500 miles away. That's just incredible. And we do have Starlink on site. It's just that the property owner is in the process of getting our servers hooked up to the Starlink router, and that's taking a little time. So we'll get that done. But Starlink is out there and operational, so we waited almost half a year for that, and now we have it. So. And Elon told me he thinks it's going to be pretty good. No, he did not. Well, anyway, so that's cool. And this is a live 12 millisecond, literally just over a tenth of a second shot of the moon. And I'm going to try something here while I've got it here. Here's what's interesting. The telescope is sort of sensitive in a way that this works because I could focus on the moon and then the stars will be slightly out of focus. So this is optimal focus for the stars, but not quite for the moon. And it's a strange thing because it should be the same, but it really isn't. But it's about as close as you can get with the system we have now. Ann's Human Garga, how you doing? I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming back. He says, haven't been able to catch a stream for a few months, but it's good to be back. It's so good to see you. The moon is the moon of the earth, says Lil Griffin. And you are right. Jessica S., how are you? Jessica S. says, that's the coolest thing, that it's so far away but at your fingertips. Isn't it, though? Isn't it, though? Yeah, and Uberku, this is a momentary image, so you're looking at a tenth of a second shot. So this is live. All right, so like if we actually were to move to the east a little bit, you see the moon shift to the right in the view, see? So this is a live view. We're not stacking this.
Yeah. Izabela was wondering why it was moving left and right.
Oh.
Because it's a live shot, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah.
Also, we are running a telescope at a sidereal rate. In other words, star rate. We're following the stars. We're not following the moon. The moon is actually moving eastward a little bit faster than the stars are going westward as the Earth rotates. So there's a difference in the way the moon rotates around the Earth versus how the stars are rotating around the Earth as the Earth rotates. So if we go on a lunar rate, then we will find ourselves following the moon exactly. If I go on a star rate like it is now, we're tracking the stars, but we're not tracking the moon. So the moon is actually moving slightly to the left in the view all night long. And if we leave it long enough, the moon will be way out to the left. And we're not going to leave it long enough because that'll be boring. We don't want boring. So that said, we're gonna take care of doing some other things here for you. So now with the moon out, it makes it a little bit harder. But if you notice, the telescope is looking there. The moon is just under first quarter, but we can actually still get some really cool things under our belt. We can still see some beautiful objects out there. So that's what we'll do.
Say goodbye, Cyrillus, Theophilus, and Catharina.
That's right.
You didn't tell me where you found it at.
Oh, okay.
Lunar Observer quick map, whatever it is.
No, I actually used Moon Globe HD on my iPhone. I have an automatic system that sees the phase. Just go right to that, and it gives you a whole litany of information about each of the craters, and it's Moon Globe HD, guys. So, for instance, if we talk about Theophilus, all right, Theophilus is a crater named for the Greek astronomer who lived in AD 412, and there's all kinds of other information. It's at 11 degrees, 11.4 degrees south, 26.4 degrees east, and has a diameter of 110 kilometers on the moon. And that's Theophilus. And then Cyrillus is a strange one. But Cyrillus is, of course, named after Cyril of Alexandria. And that's
of course
Saint Cyril of Alexandria. He was an Egyptian theologian and chronologist around 444 AD. And Cyrillus is a 98-kilometer diameter crater. And then, of course, we have Catharina down here. And Catharina was named for Catherine of Alexandria, right, who was a Greek theologian as well. And this crater is 104 kilometers in diameter. All of these craters, of course, are way more than big enough to be seen with the naked eye when you're looking at the moon. You just may not make out all the detail. With a pair of binoculars, you get all the detail. You'll see the central peak of Theophilus and Cyrillus. Catharina actually doesn't really have a central peak of note, but Cyrillus looks a little. It's sort of like been cut off. It's cut off when Theophilus was made. So there was a lot going on there. And by looking at craters, we can tell the order of events, what happened when. And by the way, if you're not seeing this as clearly, make sure that you have your settings on YouTube at 1080p, okay? Then you'll see everything more crisp and clear. But like I said, this telescope is designed for deep sky, and deep sky is where we're heading. So just hang with us as we go, you know.
Well, it's about time.
Oh, well, we have a moon out, see, and we might as well look at it, right?
Sure.
All right, so let's go back to our wonderful planetarium program that we use, and let's move away from the moon just visually so we can start to see more detail in the night sky. And it doesn't show up until you actually get away from the moon. I like this cluster, and we're going to check out this cluster right now. It's called the Beehive Cluster, and we'll go into the details about the Beehive shortly. We're going to, first of all, we're going to watch the telescope moving up there. You can see it. And I'm going to take a 1 second exposure now that we're off the moon. And I'm going to give us a little bit of gain here. And there we go. All right. And we're also at 100%. So this is Epsilon Hydra that we're at right now. Even at 100%, we're right in the middle. Oh, there goes a satellite right through. Did you see that? Okay.
I did.
Yeah, and then I've noticed that the Beehive the coordinates for the Beehive are wrong in the database. It's not my fault. It's not the telescope's fault. It's the database fault that we can't change. So there is a problem with the Beehive. You don't see it here, but it's here. It's actually a little bit that way, so we gotta move everything this way. So we're gonna head that way now, by pulling this in. We're going to head more to the west right now, and we'll see it. If I recall, that's where we go. And as we move, you'll start to see some brighter stars coming in right around the middle of the screen over there on the right side. They should be coming in here any second. And that will be the Beehive. Here they come.
This happens every time we go to the Beehive.
Yeah, because the data for the position for the Beehive is wrong in the database.
I understand.
Yep. But see, what we do is we know this, and we just have workarounds for these things.
The Beehive's been a recent favorite.
It has, because it really is one of the most enjoyable clusters to look at. Now, we do have a moon out, and that's why the screen has some brightness to it. It is actually light pollution, but it's light pollution from our nearest neighbor, the moon. Okay, so there's the Beehive, and I'll do a exposure of this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to I have the gain right now at 0, so I'll turn the gain up just a little bit and go up to about 100. All right, and it's going to get a little bit bright, as you can see. But now what I'm going to do is we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to do a stack. Okay, so I got rid of that hypered view, and now we'll stack the Beehive. All right, and there is the exposures. You'll see that we're already at 3 stacked, 4 stacked, and we might want to up the exposure, but this is basically a 1-second exposure of the Beehive. So really pretty, you know, just a really, really pretty location in space. Yep. And we also have something else we're doing. We're doing something called a Flatfield Correction. You'll notice that it's sort of brighter on the outside and kind of dark in the middle. That's the opposite of what the screen normally looks like. Normally it's darker on the outside and lighter in the middle. And this additional flat frame is designed to negate that effect that we get with some images. And it's good when we're doing deep sky photography, not so hot when the moon is out. So, you know, it just sort of looks a little like a centered target there, but that's how that works. Hey, C&D boy, how are you? Little Griffin, why don't you guys just say hi? So come on, say hi. Say hi.
Hi, Little Griffin.
Yeah.
Is it Little Griff or Griffum?
It looks like little Griff, and then looks like either the UM is a micrometer, micrometer, so or just little Griffin. That's how it's spelled.
I see that.
Yeah. Yep. So just in the talking, we've stacked 66 of these, and I'm not going to keep these. I'll tell you why. Because we're not seeing all the stars that are here. We want to see more stars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the exposure to about 4 seconds. And it's going to be pretty bright. But then that's going to change when we do some processing. We'll actually be able to reduce that brightness. So here comes. All right, that's good actually. All right, and now we will color correct, get rid of some of that blue that's caused by the moon. There we go. Very nice. Look at that. I think we could even do more. We'll try, let's try 7 seconds. All right, now we'll go into our stack here. I want to capture some more. We're actually, just so you know, we're using some special filter, a special filter out there that actually will negate much of the moonlight, which is why we can take pictures of galaxies almost when there's a full moon. We can see nebulae as well. But it's not the best to do that. It's not the best idea because it still is taxing the system. So, but that's okay. Color correct this. There we go. And process this. Okay. Okay, so this, again, is Measure 44, known as Praesepe, the beehive. All right.
Or the manger.
The manger, that's correct, yep. And it's known as an open cluster. And that makes you wonder, does that mean there's a closed cluster of some kind? No. It's just an open cluster is a cluster of stars that are spreading out, apparently. They were formed closer together, but gravitational interactions with them are making them kind of drift apart a little bit. Some clusters stay relatively together throughout their existence. Others drift apart. The Sun is an example. The Sun was part of a smaller cluster at one point. And when it was formed in this cluster, it then migrated away over time. And the nice thing that's interesting is the chemical composition of the Sun is like a fingerprint. And every single other star that was formed with the Sun from the original solar nebula, that gas and dust from which the Sun formed initially, every other element, every other star that was formed there is going to be the exact same fingerprint value. So they'll have the same composition. So the search has been on for many years for a solar sibling. And we found at least one identical star to the Sun, but it's in the southern sky, so I can't show it to you. We can't see it from here.
I think I mentioned recently that, I read somewhere recently, they think the Beehive here and the Hyades star cluster in Taurus came from the same molecular cloud.
Yeah.
The same idea as what you're saying, I guess.
Yeah, the genesis of the stars is going to be from some kind of gas clouds, and each star formed individually is a local gravitationally condensing cloud of gas and some dust. Well, that dust, of course, when it gets really, really hot, that dust is going to get incinerated and rendered into its individual atoms, and then those atoms stay in the atmosphere of the star once it's formed. When stars wink on, the first time they wink on is at 13 million Kelvin, which is the temperature in the Kelvin degree scale. It's not even a degree scale, it's a Kelvin scale. And that 13 million Kelvin is when hydrogen can fuse into helium, effectively, essentially. And then the next level up is when the star can reach 100 million Kelvin in its core. Then it can take helium and start fusing that to carbon. And these processes do happen in some stars, but they have to be fairly large. The star that we are around, the Sun, is not large enough for us to actually fuse much more than hydrogen into helium. If it does do other elements, it's going to be through a different process called the S process. And that's for another time to talk about. But basically, it allows us to see where elements in our periodic table come from, even in stars like the Sun. Stars like the Sun can make, calcium and other things like that, but it takes an awful long time, and it's a specific type of process. It's actually called a decay process, a beta decay process. And that's what's called a slow process. It takes a long, long time for that to happen. So not a whole lot of it is made, but it's pretty cool. Yes, that's Donald Kunzer says the Kelvin scale starts at absolute zero. That's correct. You can't have -1 Kelvin. It's 0 Kelvin. That's the coldest possible temperature. But that's just a definition we've made. So that we can have something that starts at 0 and doesn't have a negative number in it. It makes it a little easier.
Have you ever seen the meme about Fahrenheit versus Celsius versus Kelvin?
Maybe. Which one?
Well, it shows Fahrenheit first, and 0 to 100 is quite cold to quite hot. Then it shows Celsius, and 0 is pretty cold, and 100 is dead. And in Kelvin, 0 is dead, and 100 Kelvin is dead.
That's right. Yeah. The Kelvin scale and the Celsius scale are the most closely related because they're 273 Celsius degrees apart from each other. But the Fahrenheit scale, on the other hand, that's a strange scale. You should all try to do Celsius.
Yeah.
Show me Sasquatch. What's happening? Good to see you. And Lil Griffin makes a very interesting observation. How can we say they exist, meaning these stars, now because we see them many thousands of years before? Well, in this particular case, we don't see them thousands of years before. We just see them some hundreds of years before. I'm trying to see now. For Praesepe, the distance is 577 light years. So we're seeing it 577 years ago. Okay, that's what we're seeing now. So you are right, effectively. If one of these stars somehow vanished, we'd be seeing the light from it coming. And then at the tail end of that, where the light turns off, we would actually see what caused that. Maybe it got swallowed by a strange black hole out there or something, if such a thing exists in this cluster, which I don't know that it doesn't. So a lot of strange things going on out there. And so Lil Griffin is absolutely right. And this goes back to what I said before many times, and that Darrell's mentioned too. The universe is a giant time machine, but we're always looking back in time. We see the sun as it was 8 minutes ago. We see Betelgeuse as it was around 750 years ago. Remember, Betelgeuse is the upper left red star in Orion. And so we see all the stars as they were many years ago. Some we see millions of years ago, and we're going to see some of those tonight when we move to the galaxies.
Damn straight.
Okay, we're going to go to Messier 83, Darrell, okay?
Maybe too early.
We're going to find out.
That's over there pretty far in the southeast, I think.
All right, well, we're going to find out. Well, this is just to set me up to where we are, because we did start off a little bit later tonight, but you could be right.
I'm looking, bear with me.
It's not that far away, but I do believe it'll be too low for our building walls.
Yeah, you are. It is in the southeast right now. It's a couple hours away from the meridian.
Yeah. But let's see what else we got. No, I think I'd rather not try it right now. Yeah. I don't want to get in trouble with trying to find something. You know what? Here's what happens, guys. When the telescope can't find something, it starts doing a box grid search. All right, and it's okay. It doesn't hurt anything. I can stop it and cancel it, but I don't want to do that if I don't have to. All right. So let's go up here. And let's turn on the constellation labels so we see where we are. That's Crater.
Crater the Cup.
Corvus the Crow.
Corvus the Crow.
Yeah, see, here we go. Bring up our mythology so you can see it.
Yep.
There we go.
We looked at the Antennae Galaxies the other night. They sit right there.
Right there.
Right there between Corvus and Crater.
Yeah. You're right there. And I think there were two galaxies here. And that's not it. This is it right here. It's on the line, so it's hard to see. Yeah. And we should be able to see that. So why don't we try that, shall we?
Sure.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, now that we're going to head off to look at something else, we're going to do some setup. I always do this. We're going to go down to a 1 second exposure, and we're going to go to our, what I call our hyper view, where we're going to just check things out. I know that we're live stacking this, all right? So we're not going to keep this view of the Praesepe, all right? We're going to clear it, and we're going to get rid of the stack. All right, and because we've gotten so many better views than this, so now we'll get rid of this, and once that happens, we'll get to the live view. There we are, and there's Praesepe with the moonlight infecting us from what it can, and we'll see how this goes. I mean, this is going to be a little bit interesting tonight because we're looking at faint objects with the moon out, but you'll see the value of it. We can actually process the light away.
Yeah, still a young moon too.
It is. It's just under first quarter.
Couple of days away.
Yeah. All right, let's go now. All right, so let's go back over here, and let's go take a look at these interacting galaxies called the Antennae Galaxies right here. So we're going there now, and basically I'm going to tell the telescope to head there. You'll watch over my head. You're going to see that the telescope is going to move, and it's also going to do what's called high precision slewing. It's going to find a waypoint star that's near the antennae. There it goes, and you're going to see it find this other star. It's going to bring the star in here. Here it comes, right there. That looks like our waypoint star. And what star is that going to be? It'll move it to the center here in a second. It's Minkar. Moving Minkar over to the center. And then where it ends up will be where the Antennae Galaxies end up. Because it's going to put the galaxies, the target we're looking for, right where this is. So right there. Here we go, and then boom, I'm going to leave my cursor there. Let's see how close the Antennae Galaxies get to my cursor. Is that them? Looks like them.
I think so.
Yeah. All right, so now what we'll do is, now that we're here, we're going to wait for the telescope to capture a guide star. And that reminds me, I want to go down now and go into this right here. And what this is going to do is I'm going to set the rates that I'm going to set my guiding rates. I know what works here, and so I set them manually. Many people do this automatic process to set up their guiding rates, but I know what works. And what I'm going to put in will work better than what the machine comes up with. This comes from being part of this for years. Okay, and now set up 17 for this rate. Those are percentages. We can discuss how this works if you want down the line. Okay, and now I'm going to go up. And I'm going to actually take us to a status line, status panel. There goes a satellite. It's probably a Starlink satellite. And again, go into it. And okay, so there's the Antennae Galaxies. We're going to move them just a little bit. When you see numbers like this, with these numbers changing right here, that's actually active guiding. It's actually doing active guiding. But let me show you what it does when it's just getting to a site. So here we are, we're moving over, centering them up, and you see it says it's idle while it's moving. Now once it stops, it starts searching for a guide star, and once it starts guiding, which takes about 11 seconds, we can then start our exposure. So what I'm going to do is I'll set up the exposure, make it 20 seconds.
You want to raise your gain?
Yes. So I got my exposure set. Okay, we're guiding now. You can see we're actively guiding right here. So now I'm going to go, I got 20 seconds on the clock, and we're going to raise our gain from 100 to 250. I'm not going to go higher than that tonight because the moon, until the moon sets, it's going to be pretty bright out. So then I'm going to stop here and reduce our brightness on our view there because we're not looking at the it's a finder view. So now we're going to do this integration here, it's called, where we're bringing in these photos, and you'll see right there, you should see the first hint of those galaxies. Okay, and there they are right there. Okay, now we should also be able to process these a little bit to get rid of some of this brightness, change the colors, get us as close to a black sky as possible. There we go. Okay, we have another satellite there. Right there, very faint. But there's our galaxies. Those are the interacting satellite, the interacting Antennae Galaxies. And there's some subtle features to these that we'll see after we bring in more. But what we're doing is we're stacking. So that means that we're taking an image, aligning it with the previous image we take, and then stacking them on top like a sandwich. And that brings the data to the top and makes it like mountain peaks mid the valleys. The valleys are the noise in between here, but the peaks are the starlight and the subtle wispy nature of nebulae, the darkness of the nebulae. That's the data that we want, and that rises to the top when we stack, and that's what stacking does for us. All right, so now we'll get that going here. We'll do a few more of these. Let's pull us a full screen here. There we go. And let's zoom in a little bit. Why not? All right.
Looks very black and white tonight.
Yeah, that's a function of the exposure time. We're only doing 20 seconds. If we did 45 seconds, it would saturate the colors. Right now, we're just getting more of a black and white. But you can see color here. You can see the H2 regions in the galaxies are showing up here. You see that?
Mm.
Izabela is putting up links to the server. This server is where we will send all of our imagery that we take, and it's free for you to take. We don't charge. Doesn't cost you anything. Costs us the thing. It's what costs us to do it. But we want you to be able to get this stuff for free. So the server is 24/7, and I just checked, and it goes back to, I think, last November imagery that we've taken. Before that, I had to start archiving and clearing stuff out because we're running out of space on our server.
Can very faintly see the two tails already.
There's one there.
Yep.
And the other one is right here.
Yep.
And we can drag those out a little bit more. Let me just move this up a little. Okay, and let's go back to the stack. I'm just moving the image. I'm not moving the actual... it's not doing anything bad. Okay, so first things first, let me lock this. Alright, now let's go back to the stack. What happened there? It did that thing again, which I don't like. Okay, so we come back to the stack. A couple things we're going to do. We're going to add an enhancement. We're going to actually do a sharpening process. When I click this, unsharp mask, you see that right there? Unsharp mask. I'm all like crazy right here. Look at this. Mellow. When I click that, you're going to see it get a lot sharper for a moment. Here we go. All right, now watch. There you go. Now you see more detail in there. Okay, and now for the histogram, we're going to actually do one more thing. We're going to try. I'm going to try to process this a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That looks a little better. Yep. And then here we go. So here is our beautiful Antennae Galaxies. And what Darrell was talking about when he was talking about that before, you could see the tails, he says, right here. Okay, there's a tail that comes off and goes up here. You can just barely see it. And then there's another one that comes off right here and moves down this way, right about here. And that's actually that's part of the galaxies from it's basically the collisional damage from the colliding of the galaxies. These two galaxies have gone through each other already and then came back, and this is like maybe the second or third iteration they've passed around each other, most likely, because they've left such a string of material out here that certainly has to have been multiple times that they've already gone around each other.
Yeah. As Izabela said, I bet if you live around a star out in one of the tails, you probably have one heck of a view of those two galaxies.
I bet you do. I would bet you do. And let's see if we can get a better view of these. Well, that really shows the color a little better at the expense of the detail outside. But we're going to bring that back. Little by little. We'll just do it this way. Okay. There we go. And that's our Antennae Galaxies. So we'll make a note of them. Antennae Galaxies. They're actually colliding galaxies. Alright, so Antennae Galaxies. There we go. So as you can see, it's looking not so bad for a nearly first quarter moon. You know?
Yeah.
Hello, Vera. Vera Lucia Campos from Brasilia. Welcome. I'm very happy that you could join us tonight, Vera. Yeah, so we've got 23 of these 20-second shots stacked right now. Then we'll go to 25, and then we will go to the next object. And then you'll see the save. We will save these as well. Okay, so we have 25. We're going to pause this. And now when I hit save, it's going to save to our local server out in the observatory in Arizona and immediately get shipped out to our server up in the cloud, where it'll be made available to you in just literally 5 minutes, maybe a little less or more depending on the time of the day or night. So we're saving it as a raw file, and then we're saving it just like you see it here, so you can actually check out these pictures on your own. All right, you can see they'll be there and they'll be labeled too. You'll see Antennae Galaxies, so they'll be labeled. All right, so those are there and have been saved. So we can clear this now. Get rid of the stack.
Whose birthday is it tonight?
Two
Vera's
birthdays. Is it Vera? Is it your birthday?
Happy birthday, Vera.
If it's hers,
Happy birthday, Mark.
it's not my birthday.
Well, it's not my birthday.
Huh. Vera's gonna tell us. She'll say.
Happy birthday, whoever.
Yeah. It's not Isabella's birthday, is it?
I don't know.
Izabela, you not telling us something?
Happy birthday, Izabela.
Well, you know what? Sooner or later you'll be correct.
Am I in trouble yet?
I think that we all got them wrong so far. Alright, let's see here.
I always thought the antennae looked like shrimp. Izabela says bug larva.
Yeah, I can understand. Okay. We're gonna drop this down just a bit and work it back up.
If they're shrimp, they're big ones. They're jumbo shrimp.
Jumbo, more like, well, colossal. They're colossus shrimp. We see.
I forget. I saw something the other night.
Yeah.
That whole spread is like 500,000 light years across, isn't it?
What'd you say? I missed that.
That the whole spread of the antennae is like 500,000 light years across. It's huge. It's several times the size of the Milky Way.
Oh yeah, I'm counting the tails. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'd have to look that up again.
Okay, so we got this. Now let's go back to our planetarium program. Okay. Come on. Who named this the Lawn Sprinkler Nebula?
Probably the same guy who named the other one the Blow Dryer Nebula.
This is NGC 4361. Why do they call it the Lawn Sprinkler Nebula? I would really like to know what that means. You know what? I gotta know. We're going to see this. I gotta know. I gotta know what I'm missing here. It might be nothing, but we're gonna see. All right. We're going to Jenna. Okay, and then we're gonna drop down to the Lawn Sprinkler Nebula. I'm gonna guess that this is just a little blue dot. But I could be wrong.
Says it's planetary.
Yes. A planetary nebula is the remains of a star kind of like the sun. They swell up to red giants and then they slough off their outer layers because they pulsate and they push off their outer layers. And that's what we get. There it is right there. Huh. Never seen this before. We're going to investigate. Let's go check out something new, shall we? I'm going to head to the west a little bit here. Okay. And we'll move up a little bit. Alright, that looks good. Now Starlock is searching, as you can see. I don't need to be this big. Here we go. So once it starts counting off numbers, there we go. It's initializing, and boom, now we're guiding. You can see it looks a little greenish blue. That's the color of planetaries typically, is greenish blue, because there's a lot of ionized oxygen in the atmospheric blow off that comes from these planetary nebulae. And it's not because oxygen is used for fire, it's just because the oxygen atoms happen to be in the atmosphere of the star. The oxygen does not serve any purpose in creating fusion at all, other than they are a fusion product at the end. But if a star like the sun dies, well, a star like the sun doesn't make oxygen because it's not massive enough. So how do you get oxygen in a star like this? It's because it was made with oxygen, and that oxygen was in its atmosphere when it was formed. That's how that works. So let's go check out this object called the Sprinkler Nebula, which is just an odd name for me. I'm sorry. All right, so we're going to do 25 seconds on this guy, and we're going to remove our finder mode here where we do this enhanced view. So we'll kick that off, and now let's bring up our stack and stack the image. Okay. Alright, so here we go. Let's see the first one right now. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
It's blue.
Yeah. As expected in a planetary. It looks nice. Alright, well, let's see about dropping down some brightness. Alright, I'm gonna drop the brightness in that central core. I mean, we've actually gone a little bit too bright. So let's do that. And this should make the central star, which is a white dwarf, visible to us. Alright, let's check it out, shall we? We're going to go to 100% of the sensor. And boom. Lift this up away, and oh, there we go. Look at that. That's really nice.
Huh. Kind of get the idea behind the lawn sprinkler now.
I do. That's beautiful. This green thing is just an artifact of the stacking process. Sorry. Look at that. So this object right here is a white dwarf. This is, we're talking 45,000 Kelvin temperature, and it's the remaining core of a star after its outer layers were blown off. The central core contracts to a white dwarf, and this material is moving outward from the star in a shell around the star, expanding slowly, and that's what causes these nebulae to glow. Is that white dwarf? It's ionizing whatever's in that gas. You can see some red in here as well. That red is actually the hydrogen gas that might be in that envelope of the star as well. That's also has been sloughed off as the star pulsates as it gets older, and that's what happens here. That's what we're looking at. Just an incredible process.
Can we zoom in on that a little more?
Yes, we can. Let's just go here and do that.
Looks like there's some stuff right on the edge of vision.
There is, right there. And I'm going to bring that in, too. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, let's go in and look.
Yeah.
Yeah. See that ring? It's got a ring around it?
Yep.
All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to actually enhance this a little bit. I'm going to do what's called a push process. We're going to move, this here is our mid-level tones here, and this is our dark value over here. All right, if I take the dark value and I move it a little bit to the left, then we're going to see the background gets a little bit brighter. All right, but now we can see some more detail, and then if I pop this guy and pull it over, the closer these two lines get, the more detail can get pushed out, but the more graininess we'll see. So that's actually pretty good right there.
sort of a pinwheel shape to it, or
Yeah,
a lawn sprinkler, shall we say.
yeah. And this nebula is probably what's called a bipolar nebula. I'm not sure, but it looks like it has lobes. All right, you have lobes that stick off in one direction and then on the opposite side the other, and those lobes are the result of material that gets possibly distributed around the equator of the star as opposed to the poles of the star. And so maybe the star's poles are here. Maybe the north and south pole of the stars were like going a line, like on a line through here. And then as it was rotating, it pushed much of the stuff off to the side like that. That's a possibility. This is a really pretty nebula. I've never seen this before. It's the first time in my life I've seen it.
No, me too.
Just stunning.
As you say, there's a little red on it down at about 7 o'clock. Yep. Lower left.
Yeah, and there's a more intense green here. So more intense oxygen ionization there. That's doubly ionized oxygen. We call it O3. O with a Roman numeral 3, I. And like with the other one that we looked at the other night, that is M47. In Puppis, there's a cluster that actually has in front of it, way in front of it, the planetary is here and the cluster is way back here, but it has a planetary nebula and it has this dark void in part of its construction, part of its anatomy. There's one here. This is something else. This is really something.
Talking about M46?
Yeah, M46, that's what I meant. Yeah.
That's really neat.
This is cool, and you can see this outer rim. Anyway, we're only doing a 25-second exposure, so what we're going to do is, this is really a keeper, so I'm going to go and NGC 4361. That's what this is, so I'm going to make note of it right here. Alright. And what? NGC 4361.
I dare you to call it the sprinkler.
I will not. I don't want to do that. Why is it not doing it? I'm trying to get it to just put that name in.
Monkey head?
No, that's just, I'm trying to get this to do its thing, and it's not doing it, so I gotta go. See, it was at the beginning. Okay. NGC 4361, and we're gonna give it the name of a planetary nebula. It's a PN, planetary nebula. The remains of a star that has finished its existence. And all that's left is the white dwarf in the middle. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause. I'm going to save it. We have 17 stacked. Alright.
See a little red at 12 o'clock now, too.
Yeah, and the longer we go, the more we'll see. So that's why I'm about to do what I'm about to do. So there's our raw file saved. And then we're going to save it exactly as seen. And now we're not going to change anything else. We're just going to get rid of this stack. And we're going to change this. Actually, change a couple things. First thing I'm going to do is come in here. And to my telescope right here, I'm going to change the way we're guiding. I want to add just a little bit of extra panache to the guider, so to speak. So we're going to increase this by 1 from 15 to 16. That can change by the night. Okay. And then we're going to go down to our... That right ascension is the left to right, east to west movement. And the declination, that DEC you see there, DEC is declination, that's up and down, that's angles. So plus 90 is the pole, minus 90 is the south pole, 0 is the celestial equator. Okay, so we're going to set the deck right now, and we went up by 1 on the right ascension. We're going to go up by 1 here. So we're going to go up to 18 on this. They work in concert together. Okay. And then we come back up. And we're going to go into our status. Alright. And now, let's do a 40-second shot of this.
So you're going to do a second set of this?
I am.
Cool. Would you excuse me a moment, please?
Sure. Okay, now we're doing a 40-second shot. And we're going to live stack it. There we go. Yes, all that noise you heard was coming from Darrell's setup. That's why when he mutes it, it goes away. But that's okay. With the music, you don't worry about it. I can't wait to see this. This is really cool, guys. This is a really beautiful little gem. And we'll fix it as needed. We'll process it as needed. But let's see what it looks like. Okay. That's going to be pretty. Oh. Okay, a little problem. I see right there. So I'm going to have to clear this. And get out of this. Go back to 1 second. Go to our special mode here. And now what I have to do is I have to actually go and refocus. And the reason I gotta do that is because when I focused it earlier, I did not do it when it was fully dark. Now I'll do it when it's fully dark, and we're going to get a better, more accurate result. So this is going to look a lot nicer. So I'm going to take us back to the autofocus position. Alright. I'll do it this way. Okay. Up we go. There we go. Now we'll go in and focus inward. Do this again. We also have wind to contend with sometimes, and so wind can sometimes ruin the entire night. We've had that happen a few times. We're going to do it's called a multi-star full width half maximum measurement, where it's going to find, you can see lots of yellow boxes here when I do this. Okay. And now we're going to basically scan inward. We went out with the focus. Now we're going to scan in, find that perfect focus, and make that curve again. And this is going to give us a far superior image, because the last one drifted a little bit, probably because the temperature changed. And this time I will add temperature compensation in once it's ready. Okay, welcome back, Darrell.
Thank you.
I'm just doing a focus run because I noticed we're out of focus.
I see that.
So now I'm going to activate temperature compensation once we get it, so that we keep it focused longer. Okay. Okay, there's our best focus position right there. And once we get a green bar at the top here, it'll show that we've gone through the entire process. You can see it up here. We're doing 12 steps. And we're at 11 right now. We're making a very nice focusing curve right here. We didn't get as fine a curve before. Okay, it's going to go to the best position now. Totally focus up on this, and then we can go back and do this all again. Goes all the way to the other side and comes back into the center. Alright. Now we can get rid of it. And make our way. So here we go. Alright. Okay. We're going to do a 40-second shot. as I mentioned. And then we'll get rid of our piece here. We're going to get rid of this hyper thing. Going to turn on temperature compensation. And now let's live stack this planetary nebula. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You watch this progress bar over here in the lower right side. Okay, you can see it. I probably should just change the size of this logo just a tad. There you go. Now you can see the progress bar a little better. And here comes our first one. Wow. Okay. This looks pretty. Let's zoom in. Usually you wait till about 5 to 10 stack images before you zoom in, but why wait that long? Let's just go. Wow, look at that. That's really pretty. Now, you see this modeling, okay, as this exposure gets finished and we stack and overlay, you're going to watch a lot of that go away. You ready? Now watch this now. Watch carefully. Here it goes. Boom. Did you see that? A lot of that modeling went away because that's what stacking does. It takes out that average noise and lets the signal come to the top. Really pretty.
Mark, Uberku asked a couple of minutes ago,
okay,
hey Mark, when stacking, how many images are layered together? If you had a shorter exposure but longer stack, would that make a difference? Say 10-second exposures.
Okay, here's why you have to make that judgment based on the object you're taking, Uberku. That's a very good question. Let's say you're taking an image of a very, very faint galaxy. Right? If you take a short stack of, say, 10 seconds and stack them, you're taking a 10-second exposure of the galaxy. A galaxy that might need a 50-second or longer exposure. So what you might get is a beautifully stacked, noise-free, tiny little smudge, as opposed to a beautiful galaxy that has all kinds of spiral arms, okay, but possibly a shorter number of stacks. It comes down to how much noise you're trying to get rid of, okay, and how bright the object is. For a planetary nebula like this, these are pretty bright. So we can do a short stack, all right, but by going longer, we're trying to pull out detail. And here, if you notice, we've done exactly that. See this area right here? Remember, we could barely see there was a curve here. We did not see this little curved piece, though. This curved piece plus this little tiny detail down here, this was lost. We didn't have that in the previous exposure of only 20 seconds.
Could see it before at the lower left. I think it stands out better now.
Yeah, well, this one at the upper left was not there at all, practically. You couldn't see it like you see it here, that's for sure.
You could see it trailing back, sort of, like the whole lawn sprinkler idea.
Yeah.
But basically, the idea of what you're saying is like 10 40-second exposures are not equivalent to 40 10-second exposures.
That's correct. Because the 10-second exposure can only show you just so many details in a faint object, and no matter
that's really jumping out now.
Yeah, and no matter how many you stack, it's just not gonna work. You know, it's not gonna do anything more than just 40 10-second shots. You'll just have a bunch of very, very short details that are good for 10 seconds. But you need more detail. You got to go longer. That's pretty. Look at that.
And there's the white dwarf back now.
Yep, there it is right there.
It was kind of washed out in the middle.
Yep.
Last shot.
We're just going to go in a little more here. We're going to go in quite a bit more. Wow. I think we have a little wind out there tonight, but it's actually okay. That's pretty nice. That's just an amazing little nebula. There's probably a lot more out here too. I'm sensing there's a lot more out here that we're missing. And we probably need to do like a 2-minute exposure, 1-minute exposure, and I'm not going to do that tonight.
What was the NDC number on this?
This was 4361 actually.
4361.
Yeah. You notice as we stack, the green, it's guiding, so the guiding is moving upwards, and to keep the stars aligned, and so it's making this one green pixel. It's not following that; it's keeping it behind, because it's a hot pixel. We can there's routines to actually get rid of these. You can actually cause the camera to get rid of those. I'm going to do that, but I'm not doing it yet.
Your image stands up surprisingly well to the one at the wiki on it.
Oh, cool. It looks like there's some outer halos of dust out here. Is that possible, or is that just what I'm thinking I'm seeing?
You're basically seeing what's there. There is some fine detail that you're not quite catching, but you pretty much got the outer shell on it now.
Okay.
There's some fine stuff going on inside that outer shell that you're not quite resolving, but or it's just at the edge of resolving, but
we might be able to resolve it if we were to just come back a little bit. Or no, actually, it's going to have to go the other way. I think I see what you're talking about. I think there's some wispy structure in here.
Yeah.
I can see that. Rubiku says, that was my thought, having longer stacks average out the noise, to average out the noise. What about, say, 40-second exposure and hypothetically 40 layers? That would take some time outside the stream. Yes, indeed, Uberku, and that's exactly what I do. That's why I do private streams a lot, because I'll sit there and I'll do 1-minute shots and take like 50 layers, basically 50 exposures that are stacked. My average is like 30 to 40. Beyond that, it's diminishing returns, because this particular sensor is actually so good that we don't have to take as many stacks to get rid of the noise, which is what stacking is all about, getting rid of noise so you can pull out detail that's faint. But this sensor has so low noise relatively compared to others that we're good. And if you notice down here, right here, you can see the temperature of the sensor. If you can read that, it says the sensor is being held at minus 10 Celsius. Because I got a thermoelectric cooler on this camera, and it's bringing the temperature of the sensor down well below 0 Celsius. That's freezing. So it's at minus 10 Celsius. That's quite cold. And I can go even colder, but I don't. Because I don't want to put any other artifacts into the imagery. But we're looking at some really nice detail in this nebula. Man, this is pretty.
yeah. Right where your pointer is now, or where it was, you have that one little kind of hook-shaped streamer sticking out at 3 o'clock.
This one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And down below it at 4 o'clock, and then the bigger loop about 5 to 6.
Yep. And look at all the detail in here.
Yeah.
There's some radial strands coming in. So this is, again, stacking brings the data to the top, and we're doing a long enough stack so that we can see some of this detail. I mean, that's really exquisite. Quite exquisite. And you'll notice that the white dwarf's a different color than most of the stars in the image, isn't it? See, the white dwarf is blue, isn't it? Now, we call it a white dwarf, but it's actually very hot. So its temperature is going to be blue. And that's governed by a famous law we call Wien's law. which calculates basically the color for temperature, whatever temperature it is. So if you have a very, very hot temperature, the hottest temperatures give you bluish colors. The less hot temperatures give you white. So blue hot is hotter than white hot. And red hot is cooler than white hot.
You're about to verge on the ultraviolet catastrophe. Which, who was it? Planck figured it out?
Yeah.
Or solved it accidentally?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that white dwarf, actually, much of its energy is probably in the ultraviolet right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's making the gas fluoresce.
Yep. That's for sure.
That's a cool picture.
It really does look nice. I'm very, very impressed with this. Yeah. And this is 16 stacked, so we'll go just a little longer. I know it's a galaxy night, guys, but look at this is a little gem that we found, and I like that we took advantage of it.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we are at 17. That's nice. We're starting to see even more detail. Again, the stacking brings out that faint detail, and that's what we're seeing here. That's what we're seeing here. Yeah.
Uber crew, have you ever watched the show Forged in Fire? I get a kick out of that. You see them when they're forging their blades. The colors of the hot steel. It'll be red hot to yellow hot to white hot, and you never see it get past white hot. And white hot is too hot for what they're doing. They prefer a bright, kind of a orangey color is best.
Yeah.
Depends somewhat on the steel, characteristics of the steel. But the same idea carries on. They start out at dull red to cherry red to bright red to orange to yellow to white.
Yep.
One of my favorite TV shows, actually.
Really?
Yep.
Oh.
I've done a few knives. They're okay.
Well.
They're not good enough to get me on the TV show.
Well. Look at that. That is just something else. Okay, we're closing in on 20 here, and we're going to stop at 20. There we go. And there's 20.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so we'll save that now. Alright, so this is our raw stack. And then the result of that raw stack with this processing in it, save exactly as seen, in a ping file that you could just double click on and take from the server if you like. Well, that's beautiful, and I'm glad we found that.
Another happy accident.
Yep. Well, I saw it down there and I said, let's check that out. That's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It turned out that it actually was. Yeah.
M83 is getting over closer to due south now.
It is, yep. We're going to be doing that. Okay. So, let's bring our view back down to filling the frame. So we do auto, so we take our 4 full moons across by 3 full moons tall and make them fill a frame here that we see on the screen. So that's the 4 across, 3 above. And now we're going to head over to a Messier object that we saw the other night, and it was actually pretty cool. Let's go to our planetarium program. We'll bring that up now. And now let's go to Messier 83. And that is going to be right here. And off we go. And I don't know. It's only 21 degrees. We'll try it, but I don't think it's going to be quite high enough.
Okay.
We'll try it. Here we go. You watch
Think
the
it'd be
telescope.
better if you gave it another hour?
Probably, but you see where the telescope's going? It's aiming right down. It's going to see where this brightness we're seeing is because of the observatory walls.
Yeah.
Right. But the pinwheel is going to be higher because I'm betting that it's going to a star lower. Yeah, it's pi. Oh, it's going to pi.
Hydra?
Yeah. That's pretty low, but let's see where it takes us. Actually, it's going to go higher because it's going to go.
Well, the tail of Hydra is higher than M83, so you may be SOL.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I don't like what it's doing. It's actually. Maybe. We might be okay here. I think that it might have got confused. Yeah, it did not find it. It did not find it, so that's okay. That's okay. It didn't find it because it was unable to find that star in Hydra. So where is it then? It's actually over here somewhere. There it is. Okay. Why don't we just go up here? Let's go check out M68. Right? Could we look at M68 maybe? I'm not sure. We're going to find out. We should be able to. I'm actually going to drive manually to Messier 68 regardless, just to give it a try here. Because it's basically straight up in the same right ascension. Alright, so let's go up. Now you see the telescope is moving more into the dark here, which is good. Okay. Okay, and we're gonna center it up on that. Alright, and pull out a little bit. And bring this up some more. And we'll see. We should see Messier 68 in our
Izabela.
view.
Izabela has a question for you. What's the name of this song again, please?
I'd have to hear the song. Let me see. Hold on. Oh yes, that guy. Oh, look at that satellite moving across. Okay, the name of this song is the Mariandra Waltz. Mary, M-A-R-Y, Andra, A-N-D-R-A, Waltz. That's a fairly slow-moving satellite going through the sky. And there's Messier 68, wonderful, stunning globular cluster. All right.
It's a pretty pokey satellite.
It is. It's not a Starlink. Oh, there's another one. Okay.
What happened?
I just went too fast. I got it back.
Oh.
There we go. All right. Now we'll do this. And we'll just go down a little bit here. Center it up. We're always adding capabilities to this, which is really cool. Alright. That's good enough. So once we see Starlock here, you'll see the Starlock start to guide. You'll see the numbers change. And it does the right ascension and declination guide and acquisition. And you should see it kick in right around now. It does that, and then we'll see it. Let's do this. Let's do. We're going now. We're going to do 15 seconds on that, and knock off our hyper view, and get into our stack view. Start stacking our images for all of you wonderful people out there. And what's our first one look like? Okay. Looks like that's going to be just fine. Here we go. Boom. And there it is. Nice. And now you watch as the next one comes in. It's going to knock out that noise like I told you about. Watch the noise. This modeling in here is going to get darker. Ready? Here we go. Right now. Nice.
I think we may be out of luck for M83.
Why?
Oh, it'll be at its highest in about an hour.
Okay.
On the meridian, but I think it may still be below your horizon.
Yeah, I just...
Your artificial horizon, the observatory.
I had to clear that. Sorry. It's going to be a little issue here. Sorry. Don't worry. It'll be all better. Okay. There we go. And now let's zoom in on this and see what we got. Let's go right to 100. 100's too much right away, you know, so we'll see. Not bad. That's cool. Let's try to also bring down our background a little. There we go.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Doesn't look as condensed in the center as some of them do.
I also did, you know, I dropped down the brightness. If I actually let it do what it wanted to do, it'd probably make it look a lot brighter.
Oh.
Like this. See?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll bring that down a little bit again so we can actually see the separate stars in there. There you go. That's cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's really pretty. Alright, so now back out of this. A little bit. There we go. And now we're stacking. Okay, we come over here. Reduce this even smaller. There we go. That's better. So now you can watch the whole progress bar without any interruption from the Skytour livestream logo. Okay, this is now 9 stacked images. And this is Messier 68. Thank you, Vera. Globular cluster. Thank you so much, Vera. That's so nice. I like the little cartoons that she adds in there. That's funny. Wow. Okay,
Darn.
What's that?
Do you think we may have been pointing the wrong direction when you tried to see M83? I'm looking on Stellarium, and M83 and M68 are almost the same altitude. 83 is just a hair lower.
Okay, but it's more eastward.
Yeah, it's about an hour away, a little less than an hour from the meridian.
Okay. That might have been enough at the time we tried to look at it.
Okay, well, maybe still. If we're here in an hour, maybe we can try again.
Yeah, because you're talking about right here, correct?
Give me just a moment.
No, that's not it. That's an elliptical galaxy. We'll find it again.
All right. No worries.
Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I am going to zoom out of this for a minute. Stay in it here for now, but I'm going to also zoom out. So what I'd like to do is find if we're in the center or not. We're a little off center, tiny bit off center. How much? Well, this much. Let's bring that up so you can see how much we're off center. Not by much. We're actually pretty good. All right. So what that means is we bring this up, and when we center here, we would not be. Oh, that's the wrong thing. If we center here, okay, on Messier 68, we would not be remiss if we actually, did a synchronization on that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna sync that and bring this over. Okay, and that changes our coordinates here, and it aligns the telescope for this part of the sky. So we're good now. It doesn't change anything with anything we're doing. So we're still getting all this. Okay, but we stacked 21 of these, and we'll just go to 22, and then we will start again with some new object. So here's 22. We're going to pause it. I change it to M68 GC Globular Cluster. We'll say save, and that's our raw stack. And then we're going to save exactly as seen. All right. Okay, now we'll clear this. And that,
where are you gonna go next?
I'm going to try to see if we can look at M83 now.
Oh, okay.
Because if it is that close, because we've been last time we checked was about a half hour, 45 minutes ago, I think. So let's go and find M83. Okay, that's a little higher, but it's still somewhat low. So we were over.
Oh, well, okay. I'll tell you one thing. I was looking at Stellarium, but I still had it set for Colorado Springs. So you're a fair bit farther east than I am.
Yeah.
Oh, your sky is farther east than I am.
Yes. All right. So what we'll do then?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. That's okay. What I want to do.
Let me fix that right now.
What do we got here? This is NGC 5085. Let's go check that out. We should be able to see this, but we're going to find out. First things first, we need to go back down to 1 second, or else we're going to get this kind of thing where we're going to get little snippets. There we go. Okay, and this is Gamma Hydra that we're going to now, and it's perfectly viewable. You can see the telescope is pointing, that way. So that's pointing actually to the southeast a little bit. Gamma Hydra nicely centered, and then from there it's going to take us to our object, which is an SC spiral galaxy, which is a galaxy which is right there that has arms that are actually loosely wound, spiral arms that are loosely wound. I've never seen this one before, so it'll be interesting to see what it looks like. Have you seen this one before? 5035?
No.
Okay. Well, we just started guiding. So, I'm gonna...
First for me, too.
Alright. I'm gonna make this a 30-second shot. Okay. We're guiding. 30 seconds. Disable our finder screen and go into our live stack stream.
I'm set on Arizona now.
Okay.
And yeah, your M83 is about an hour and 8 minutes from the meridian.
Yeah.
But it does look much higher up in the sky for you than it does for me.
Yeah. Oh, this is a pretty galaxy. Look at that. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, see the noise? All right, we've stacked one image here. Now, let's see. Let's go in as best we can. All right, now watch. Watch this noise. All this modeling. Watch what happens to it now. Okay, see that? It was lessened, and there's our SC. It's a spiral galaxy with somewhat loose spiral arms. NGC 5035 is one of these spirals that's just... it's actually pretty distant. It's actually farther than the Virgo galaxy where the black hole was found. This galaxy right here is 94 million light years away. So we're seeing this galaxy's light 94 million years ago. That's how long it took to get here. 94 million years. Hey, weird guy. Now, the thing is, when you asked earlier, was it Lil Griffin that asked about made a comment about the universe always kind of basically being a time machine? Well, that's exactly right. And so this galaxy right here is 94 million year old light is what we're seeing. You know? So that's pretty cool. Wow. That's cool. Let me do a color correction here. Blacken that sky a little better. There we go. You can see some dark lanes in this galaxy. It's actually really cool. That's Anita. Wow. Okay.
I believe if you zoom out, there's another galaxy that looked roughly comparable over on the right edge.
Well, there's a galaxy right there.
Yeah.
I know that's not the one. There's a galaxy right there. There's a galaxy right there. Everywhere you go, I mean, you're going to see galaxies. Whole Milky Ways. That's what these are. Whole Milky Ways. I think we might have just missed that galaxy. There it is. Right there.
Yeah.
Way out there.
Looks like.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to do galaxies, Virgo's right above us.
I do. That's right.
And Coma's right next to that.
That's right.
I really enjoyed M100 in Coma the other night, and your Lost Galaxy of Copeland too.
Yeah, that was a nice galaxy.
I don't remember if I mentioned or not. I found more out about that galaxy.
Okay.
Copeland was an amateur astronomer. He saw the galaxy, I think, back in like the 1950s.
Okay.
And Copeland was also a professional poet, and he coined the term the Lonely Galaxy.
Wow.
And that's really all it means. He called it that. Poetic license, I said.
Wow.
Another pretty galaxy, though.
Yeah. I reduced the unsharp masking just a bit because we didn't really need it that deep. Okay. We did 10 of these. These aren't as impressive, so I'm going to pause it. And I don't know if I should save it or not. You know what? I'm going to save it. I'll tell you why. That way we can do a galaxy count. And then we'll have a record of these galaxy images. And should there ever be a supernova, we can always refer back to it. And do supernova searches on anything we already have. NGC 5035. Galaxy. Actually, I don't have to put the word galaxy. I just have to put SC. It's actually of the Hubble classification, so it's just capital S, little c, as you can see up there in that line. Right here. Okay. And now we'll save it. And save it exactly as seen. Okay. And then we'll clear. Get out of the stack. Go to 1 second. Okay. And then this. Alright. Now I'm gonna do something right now. I'm gonna close this down and bring it back because I want to take advantage of fixing a problem that was occurring that I had noticed along the way. We had a little glitch in this program, and it's going to be gone now when I bring this up. So everything is back. It's starting up the same way. We got our galaxy. It's still there. Everything's still there. Okay. So now, which galaxy did we say we wanted to see now?
M104 is pretty much due north of you.
Okay. All right. We're gonna head up to there. Okay, why am I getting a slowdown here? Okay, Stellarium. Yeah, Stellarium has done some kind of a crash or something, so I am going to have to restart that as well.
Bummer.
That's okay. Not a big deal. I don't know why it did that. Okay. It doesn't want to go away now. Try this again. Okay, well, the camera program's still going in the background dutifully, as you can see. Let's try now, just bringing up the task manager.
I remember you had Task Manager up the other night, and you were running at like 100% on your CPU.
Oh, I know what that's from. Alright, so this... I may have lost a few more things in that. Let's go over here. It looks like this is... Looks like I lost the connection to the scope as well.
So this camera view is very high.
Yeah. Alright, well, I'm going to close a few programs here and we'll restart. That should be okay. I'm actually going to close down more things here, so just bear with me.
Looked like SharpCap was using a lot of memory.
That's okay. Bear with me. Bring back this first. This might be a problem. We'll find out. Okay, let's see if this is still operational. It should be. Uh-oh. On Park? Oh boy. I don't know what that's doing. That is a problem. Alright, well, we can try it, see what it does. But just in case. I'm going to be ready in case something goes wrong. Just a minute.
Izabela had to leave.
Oh, she did?
Yeah,
Okay.
said she had something exploded. Maybe she called it a short circuit.
Uh-oh.
Something exploded. Maybe it was a transformer blew or something.
Well, it affected us too, apparently. Okay, this is our problem. I got a little issue down here that and that's probably the whole issue. So let me just, that's why Stellarium had a problem. Okay, this is gonna close right here. Okay. Telescope's still doing its thing. Nothing wrong there. So now what I'm going to do is start it back up. Start this back up. And it should allow us to connect to the telescope again. Alright. And we're going to do this now. Move over. Alright. We go to gear. Let's see if this works.
May I talk while you're doing your thing?
Yeah.
Folks, you might have heard the European Southern Observatory is going to make a big announcement this next Thursday, May the 12th. It has to do with the Event Horizon Telescope and the Milky Way. And what a lot of people are thinking, myself included, is I bet they're going to be releasing results on their imaging with the Event Horizon Telescope on the Sagittarius A star, the black hole at the center of our galaxy, the Milky Way.
Yeah.
You know, I can hardly wait to see that.
That's going to be cool.
Yeah. I think it's like 7 in the morning my time. God, I've been sleeping so late lately. I'm going to have to make myself get up early to see that.
I bet you will. All right, we're going to close this. I think I actually got a little bit of a mix-up going on here. So what I'm going to do is, it's not going to change anything. I'm going to have to reboot the computer out there. So I'm going to do that. And it'll bring us back. The telescope will be in the same configuration. But I'm going to have to do that because I don't have a choice. So it's a restart. And there we go. And we will bring it back in just a couple of seconds. Sorry about that, folks.
David Schmidt, that sounds right.
What did David say?
He was wondering if he's 14 hours ahead of you.
Probably just about.
He's 14 hours ahead of the telescope, that is.
Yeah, right.
What do we got there? M33?
Yeah, but you're the only one that sees that. That's my screen.
Oh.
And I'm waiting for the observatory to come back up. Actually, so we're waiting for this to come back. And measure 33 was that one that Darrell was talking about that we took. Okay. It doesn't seem to be coming back, so I got to... let's try something else. There is the center of the wonderful Rosette Nebula. Well, I told it to restart, and it's not restarting. That's a problem. Because the building's still open.
Benjamin, that's next weekend, the 15th. The Lunar Eclipse.
Well, sorry guys, I guess this is gonna have to be the end for tonight. I cannot connect.
Bummer.
Yeah, something's not right. Yeah, it's offline for real.
Wow.
That reboot should not cause that. So that means I have to wait until morning and then I can get to it in the morning probably.
And the observatory's stuck open then.
It is, but we don't have any weather coming in, so we're cool. But it's still,
Yeah.
just maddening because that doesn't usually happen. So, what we're looking at, this is our weather out there. Okay, so as you can see, we've got nothing coming.
Yeah.
So we're fine, but I don't like having it open.
I don't blame you.
Okay. Well, sorry folks. I'll have to figure out what's going wrong and try and decipher it. So that's strange. But anyway, you guys, hope you have a good night. Probably going to be up most of the night. But it's no problem. I'll figure it out. And we'll hopefully see you soon. All right?
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, sorry for the abort. But we'll see you later.